Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Natural Food Pantry Education Initiative. Joining me today for a discussion on sleep and stress is Dr. Kate Rheaume, Naturopathic Doctor. Dr. Kate is a graduate and former faculty member of the Canadian College of Naturopathic Medicine. As a very reputable educator, Dr. Kate Rheaume speaks internationally on many topics related to health and wellness. She is the author of the best-selling book, Vitamin K2, The Calcium Paradox, How a Little Known Vitamin Could Save Your Life. We have been very fortunate to have Dr. Kate with us regularly at our Natural Food Pantry Education series. Welcome back, Dr. Kate. It's always a pleasure to have you with us for these conversations.
Thanks, Natasha. Great to be back.
So sleep and stress. It's funny to be transparent with you. I typically don't have issues with sleep, and last night I didn't have the greatest sleep, and I am feeling it today. I'm sure I'm not alone. There are many people out there that struggle with sleep and of course, stress. Now, how common are sleep problems?
Very common. Statistics range, I've seen different ones, but at least a third of Canadians will have occasional or regular sleep problems. And as you mentioned, a sleep problem, even a person who sleeps relatively well most of the time can have the occasional bad night for whatever reason. I think it affects us all at some point or another.
Absolutely, especially parents, right? Like we both have children who are older now, but thinking back to those early stages when they were babies and they were waking up every hour of the night teething, it really impacted my brain, my energy, of course. Yeah, sleep deprivation can be quite serious. So I know there's several different forms of insomnia. Can you talk a little bit about the different types of insomnia?
So insomnia is often divided into two general categories: difficulty getting to sleep and difficulty staying asleep. Now, people can have one or the other or both or a mix. And so when we talk, difficulty getting to sleep is pretty straightforward. You just have troubles falling asleep. You may be lying in bed, your brain's wheels are turning in your brain like the hamster on the wheel, or you just can't settle. Difficulty staying asleep, that can take lots of different forms. That can be waking at 3 a.m. That's a common time people will complain of insomnia, waking at that time. There can be waking every 2 hours, feeling like you never got a really deep or restful sleep. You're sort of awake part of the night, or you kept looking at the clock. And then waking too early. Sometimes people will report waking around 5 and not feeling rested. Some people naturally wake up at around 5 o'clock and feel great. Maybe that's their internal alarm clock, but others feeling like they should still be sleeping, can't get back to sleep. So there's lots of different ways of what's called maintenance insomnia, or difficulty staying asleep, can manifest.
That's a great point. On the note of waking up feeling rested, that would naturally be one of the signs that someone has experienced a good night's sleep. What are some other signs that they might have experienced good quality sleep?
Feeling rested throughout the day. So even if you're a little bit groggy on the wake up, you should be getting up to speed. And in some ways, it's almost difficult to put a finger on it, but you will feel better rested. Typically, that's associated with better cognitive function during the day, feeling more sharp and focused, feeling less tired. Obviously, if you're feeling tired throughout the day, that's a sign that you didn't sleep as well the night before. And we know that even for people who've missed just one night of sleep, or have had a poor or shorter night of sleep than they should have or normally would have, you can feel hungrier. People consume more calories when they've been lacking sleep. It's basically the body's way of looking for more energy. And so regularly not sleeping as well can lead to weight gain. And we also know that not sleeping well, again, even just one night of reduced sleep, can increase levels of stress hormones. So you may feel more stressed the next day. Maybe you have shorter patience, feeling more easily overwhelmed. These are all signs and symptoms that are associated with a poor night's sleep.
Yeah. Anxiety too, I imagine. That sense of anxiousness.
Yeah, that's just not feeling able to cope with things as well.
Yeah, for sure. And so I know many people experience that drop in energy around 2 o'clock in the afternoon, that afternoon hump. Do you feel that that's something that's natural to us humans, or is that definitely linked to poor quality sleep?
It depends. So there actually is, we have these circadian rhythms, right? Our body goes through phases that repeat day in, day out, depending on the time of day. And there is a natural energy slump that can happen around 1 or 2 in the afternoon. There's in fact often a slight drop in body temperature, which can make us feel sleepy. So in certain cultures, they'll have a siesta in the afternoon, and that is quite a normal thing. But if you really feel like you're struggling to get through the day, often those mid-afternoon energy slumps are triggered by, or at least exacerbated by, spiking and then dropping blood sugar that can make those a lot worse. And so that, it depends on the individual. And an otherwise healthy person, that little afternoon energy slump can be normal, but somebody whose blood sugar is up and down, and that can be problematic.
Right. And a lot of people, when they experience that slump in energy, will reach for some kind of stimulant, whether it's chocolate or sugar or caffeine. So caffeine, is that something that gives us true energy in the afternoon? What's it really doing to our bodies?
Yeah, that's a great question. Many people don't know. You feel more energetic, you're stimulated. It's a stimulant. What does that mean? And I'm not to say that we should never ever have caffeine. It has some benefits for cognitive function. I love my espresso in the morning. But if you really feel like you're dependent on it all day, that may be because you're not getting as good a night's sleep. And what caffeine actually does to us is it blocks the feelings of being tired. So we feel tired, and more so throughout the day, because there's a compound in our body called adenosine that builds up. And that eventually leads us to feeling so tired that we have to go to sleep. The body clears out the adenosine and we feel refreshed the next day. What caffeine does is it blocks adenosine receptors, so you don't sense the tiredness. You're still tired. You just don't feel tired. So in fact, it can trick you into maybe overexerting yourself when you should be resting, for example. And so again, in small amounts, a little bit of caffeine can be good for focus, concentration, brain function. In larger amounts, it does the opposite. It gives you the jitters and hard to focus. But it's essentially tricking your brain into thinking you're not tired when you are.
And also having caffeine later in the day can disrupt sleep that night, right? So it becomes this vicious cycle.
Yes, and to a greater extent than people think. People underestimate how much caffeine can interfere with their sleep, and you'd be surprised. People come in, say, I'm not sleeping well, and they're drinking 4 or 5 cups of coffee a day, and they say, well, I need that to sleep, to keep awake because I'm not sleeping well, and that it does become a vicious cycle. So cutting back on caffeine, especially, say no caffeine after 3 p.m., depending on the individual, can make a really big difference in sleep.
Yeah. Yeah. And what about genetics? Do genetics play a role in sleep quality at all?
They do, to a certain extent. They tend to play more of a role in how much sleep you need. If you can, one of those people who get by well on 7 hours of sleep versus somebody else who might need 9, you may find that runs in the family. But for the most part, it's, the lifestyle factors that make a bigger difference in our sleep quality.
Okay. Yeah. I definitely can see, after thinking about it, I can see some patterns in families that I know where insomnia tends to be inherited, or a pattern anyways. Maybe it's related to their lifestyle more so than their genes. Yeah,
Yeah, that can be the
interesting.
case.
Yeah, yeah. And what about environmental factors, lifestyle factors, nutrition, activity levels? How do they affect our sleep?
Absolutely hugely. It can make a huge impact. So looking at, for example, whether or not people exercise. Exercise is wonderful for promoting a healthy sleep. And you might not want to exercise perhaps too late at night, too close to bedtime, but getting regular exercise absolutely will increase sleep quality and quantity. You'll be better rested if you're a regular exerciser. Nutrition as well makes a big difference. We already talked about blood sugar levels. Blood sugar levels that are erratic, fluctuating throughout the day, perhaps because you're eating lots of processed or refined carbohydrates, make your blood sugar go up and then it drops. Those blood sugar spikes will continue while people are sleeping. And if they're strong enough, they can actually wake people up. When the blood sugar drops a lot, your body will produce adrenaline, and that can wake you up from a sleep. And so absolutely lifestyle in terms of diet and nutrition can make a difference. And we need certain key nutrients to sleep well. Magnesium, for example, will promote improved sleep quality, very relaxing, a nice thing to have extra magnesium, either rich foods in the evening or magnesium supplement at bedtime, for example. There are other nutrients that will help us make more melatonin. That's our natural sleep hormone. And then having a lifestyle that is regular, so you're maintaining a regular day-night rhythm or a regular schedule, helps the body to set its circadian rhythm. So the body knows when it's daytime, when it's nighttime, when it's time to sleep, when it's time to be awake. And screen use, that's a big part of that, using lots of screens at night, especially sending blue light to the brain, telling the brain it's daytime, and then you want to shut those off and expect to go right to sleep. That may not work so well.
So true. So true. I know for me, I'm quite sensitive. And if I have sugar in the evening, if it's a rare occasion, a special occasion, and I indulge in cake, I know I'm going to be in for a restless night's sleep. I might fall asleep fine, but I wake up with weird dreams and I just don't get the quality of sleep. Even fruit in the evening will do that for me. I have to watch. Fruit is a great food for me throughout the day, but not so much in the evening. And screen time, yes. If I'm up working on a project late, which is really rare, but happens on occasion, it takes me a while to get to sleep. So true.
And alcohol is another one that falls into that department. Red wine is notorious for making people feel sleepy and then waking them up in the middle of the night. I don't know why it's worse than other forms of alcohol. Any form of alcohol can do it, but for whatever reason, red wine seems to be one that will do that to people.
Yeah, for sure. So what are some natural things that people can do to help promote sleep? You talked about magnesium, foods that promote melatonin. Any other suggestions?
Well, there's, improving sleep quality falls under a couple of categories. Basic sleep hygiene, as we call it. That's not taking a shower before bedtime, but it's certain things we can do to encourage our body's circadian rhythms, our body's natural melatonin production. So sleeping in a completely dark room, not even a little bit of light, or, using blackout blinds, so very dark blinds that keep all the light out, or a sleep mask, that covers your eyes, for example. That is important. Dark will help the body make more and the brain make more melatonin. On the flip side, when you wake up in the morning, taking the mask off, flipping the blinds open, turning the lights on, that signals that it's daytime. So that helps, again, to set that daily rhythm. Avoiding things like we already mentioned, too much caffeine late in the day, alcohol as well will interfere with sleep, getting that regular exercise. So all the things we spoke, those things fall into the sleep hygiene, I would say, category. And then, as we were already talking about, there are certain nutrients that will help promote a better night's sleep. I do love magnesium to promote a peaceful, relaxing sleep quality. It helps to relax tense muscles. Muscle spasms or twitches are improved by magnesium, so that can help promote a more relaxing sleep. And there are other nutrients. For example, we talk about difficulty getting to sleep. There's a nutrient called GABA, gamma aminobutyric acid. This does not cause drowsiness. You can get this in certain types of fermented foods, sprouted brown rice, kimchi is a source of GABA. It is available in a supplement as well. And like I said, doesn't cause drowsiness, but will calm the mind down. So if you can't get to sleep because you can't stop thinking, wonderful for just calming the brain down. And it's been shown to help people get to sleep faster and have improvements in the amount of deep sleep. This is the type of sleep we tend to get at the beginning of the night, where we're not dreaming, but we are actually, in fact, doing all kinds of things like cleaning our brains, believe it or not, flushing out toxins in our brains at this time. So GABA, L-theanine is another nutrient that works like GABA to calm the mind down, to help get sleep or get you to sleep. These kinds of nutrients can really improve sleep quality. And of course, there are melatonin supplements. That's a whole other discussion. But for some people, not everybody, but that can make a really big difference.
Yeah, there's lots of options out there. GABA and L-theanine, I think of them almost as like meditation in a capsule.
Agreed. Yes, exactly. Always keep some on hand just in case. And that's perfect for people who generally sleep well, but you've just got a night where you've got so much going on in your head, and that can help them.
Yeah, wonderful. Thank you so much, Dr. Kate, for joining me. It's always such a pleasure to have these conversations with you and pick your brain.
You're welcome, Natasha. It's great chatting with you.
Thank you, everybody, for joining us. For more information on upcoming education events, such as free webinars, visit our classes and services tab of the website at naturalfoodpantry.ca. Also, feel free to subscribe to our newsletter and follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. Stay healthy, everybody. Bye-bye.